Hey everybody, this is Kevin Deline, and I'm excited to welcome you to my podcast called Shop Talk, where we're going to interview local entrepreneurs and community leaders to hopefully get actionable insights on how they've built their lives and their businesses that you, the audience, can take with them and hopefully implement into your life and your business. Troy, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
So you're Troy Moldenhauer from S.M.I.L.E.S.
Troy Moldenhauer.
Moldenhauer. I knew I was going to mess
Sorry.
it up. You're good.
That's all right. You bet.
We were just talking off camera about the name game, so we're getting there.
Absolutely. So I'm glad to be here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
You bet.
I'm excited for you to be able to tell everybody about S.M.I.L.E.S, your role in S.M.I.L.E.S, and what you guys do and the amazing things you guys do in the community.
Absolutely.
You know, if you could just start by telling everybody what you do and what S.M.I.L.E.S is, and we'll go from there.
Great. Well, S.M.I.L.E.S stands for Special Methods in Learning Equine Skills. We are actually in our 40th year, so we're pretty excited. We say 4 decades of changing lives. And what we do is we work with clients with disabilities and horses in kind of a therapeutic environment. And so our clients receive therapeutic benefits by either riding a horse or grooming a horse. Last year we had 244 clients, and we had 23 horses that work very hard and are very kind and amazing to our clients and volunteers. So we are pretty much a volunteer-run organization. We have about 200 volunteers and 8 staff members, and we literally cannot operate without volunteer support. My role is executive director. I've been involved with S.M.I.L.E.S for about 17 years. I started being involved with them because I have 5 children that all have disabilities, and my oldest, her pediatrician said, "Hey, there's this place called S.M.I.L.E.S. You should check it out." And so my daughter started riding there, and it really changed our lives. And so I became a volunteer, and I absolutely loved every single minute of every time I was at S.M.I.L.E.S. And I always thought, gosh, I could work there someday. It'd be really cool. But, I had 5 kids and I was a university administrator. So I kept thinking, I can't afford to work at a nonprofit. So a year and a half ago, the position of executive director was open, and I thought, now's the time. And so I took the plunge, and I am so pleased that I did. I'm really loving every aspect of working there. So
That's amazing.
It's a great place.
Yeah. What made you make the jump in that moment when that opened up?
Higher education is really difficult right now, and my role as an administrator, a lot of universities were cutting positions and such because of money and things, and my job was working with admissions and bringing new students in. Well, the population of graduating seniors is at an all-time low, so universities were really, really struggling to get students. And so I was really enjoying what I did, but I was in transition. I had gotten a different position at a different place and wasn't enjoying it as much. So it was really rather easy to make the change. Pay cuts are never easy, and so when I started at S.M.I.L.E.S, I was making less money, but I'm really good at budgeting, and I made it work, and I'm really excited to be there. So
good.
Yeah. I think I'll probably say that a few times. I'm really excited to be there because I am.
Well, that you feel that for those of you who don't know, I volunteer at S.M.I.L.E.S too recently in the past couple months, but you walk in and you could feel the energy. It's like the parents are excited, the clients are excited, the volunteers are happy to be there. So it's there's a lot of energy in the facility.
Absolutely, yeah.
Your role in education probably plays a role in S.M.I.L.E.S, right? I mean, you're teaching clients and volunteers and staff, and do you think that helped you in your journey to become, the director?
I do. My undergrad degree is actually in special education, and my master's degree is in counseling and administration. And so I think that really lended itself well to this position. I'm not an instructor. All of our instructors at S.M.I.L.E.S are certified instructors. They're not just horse people. They're people that are trained to do this job. But in working with families and working with clients and volunteers, our clients all have disabilities, and so having that knowledge of disabilities is really helpful. And also counseling. I'm not in a therapeutic role at S.M.I.L.E.S, but I certainly am an avid listener. A lot of people don't realize that when the families come to S.M.I.L.E.S, that's kind of an outlet for them as well. People don't realize that, having a child with a disability is a lot of work. And a lot of families don't get a break, like my daughter, amazing human being. She's 25, but she'll never live independently.
Mm-hmm.
And so the responsibility of parenting, a lot of parents think, okay, 18, they're going to go to college off on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, families with children with disabilities often live with them for a long time,
Yeah.
right? And so sometimes it's a good reprieve for families to come in, talk with one another, talk with the staff, and have 45 minutes that their child is with someone that is safe and they're enjoying their experience. So it's really kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a weight off their shoulders, and then a place to talk, right? I imagine I don't know that for firsthand experience, but not having people to talk about that and relate to is probably really hard. So it's an outlet for them on multiple levels.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So you say that the trainers are not, I'm sorry, not the trainers. The instructors are not just horse people; they're certified. So what does that certification look like, and how do you get involved in that?
I know you'd know some people that are certified instructors or becoming certified instructors. So S.M.I.L.E.S is accredited through an organization called PATH International. And S.M.I.L.E.S is what's called a premier accredited center, which means that we have the highest level of accreditation of any center in the world, actually. PATH is an international organization that sets, safety standards, trust standards, just industry standards in general. There's a whole slew of things that we have to do. In fact, we went through reaccreditation in 2024, and we received a perfect score. So
wow.
That's kind of unheard of. And so we're known as a pretty amazing center throughout the world. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But in order for us to be a premier accredited center, our instructors also have to be certified. And so it's helpful if they know things about horses. It's helpful if they know about clients with disabilities. But it's something that can be trained as well. And so all of our instructors, they go through a certification process. It could be a year, it could be longer, it could be a little bit shorter than that, but it's typically about a year. And they go through, well, I'll back up just a little bit. S.M.I.L.E.S is a center that can do the training for certified instructors.
Well, that's nice.
So any person around the globe that needs certification could technically come to S.M.I.L.E.S and get that training, because we have two of our instructors that are instructor mentors that are qualified to do that training. We have had lots and lots of people come to our center and become certified instructors and then go off and do that work at other centers.
Are these, how common, I'm sorry to interrupt, but how common are these facilities? Because I only know of S.M.I.L.E.S. Are they super prevalent, or?
Within the world, there's about 800 accredited centers.
Okay.
And so there are, I should know this. I think there may be 20 in Wisconsin.
Okay.
But there are only 4 accredited to our level in Wisconsin. And so, or actually, yeah, it's 4 in Wisconsin. There's one in Northern Illinois that's relatively close to us that is also accredited to that level too. And the 4th just became accredited. So there were 3 for the longest time. So it's popular, but not popular, I should say.
Yeah.
Right now, PATH International said there's over 900 clients on a waiting list trying to get into equine-assisted activities. Real quick point of information, a lot of people call us horse therapy. And so industry standards say that we're an equine-assisted program, or we offer equine-assisted programming or equine-assisted activities, because people get confused. I was at the grocery store, and this woman checking me out said, well, what do you do? And I said, when I first started, I said, well, I work at a horse therapy program. And she goes, oh my God. She goes, my horse has asthma. Can I bring my horse to your center? No, we don't do therapy for horses. Our program offers therapeutic benefits to clients with disabilities.
And that's, for those who don't know, my girlfriend, Ellie, she works at the facility. When she first, I remember, came to me, I don't know how long she's been there now, maybe even 2 years. 2 years. When she first came to me saying that she was going to start to volunteer, I thought the same thing as you. I was like, oh, she's helping horses recover from an injury, or right. And wow, was I mind blown.
Yep. So now going back, I wasn't sure if I could mention Ellie or not, but so Ellie volunteered for a year, And then we approached her and asked if she wanted to be an instructor. So Ellie is near her end of her becoming certified as an instructor. She has done phenomenal and such an amazing part of our team. So I can't wait for her to be fully certified.
Likewise,
So,
she's very excited for it.
she's an amazing instructor. So
But it was
patient and kind.
it was eye-opening to see how much she had to go through to get to the level of certification, which is really important. You're dealing with people that are having disabilities, aren't necessarily mobile all the time, so the safety is
it is definitely key. So, I mean, people. So when I started going to different centers to kind of see what they're doing, and it's amazing to see what S.M.I.L.E.S does versus what some other centers do. And so I love the other centers that I visited. I think we just kind of go a step above. We are constantly doing safety checks, making sure that the helmets are fitting the clients properly, making sure that the stirrups are good, making sure that the girth is tight. Constantly over and over doing safety checks, and just making sure that the clients are meeting goals, that they're having fun. That's a really big part.
There's a smile on their face.
Absolutely. We're called S.M.I.L.E.S for a reason, So I don't know how they came up with the name, but it really is very fitting, and it's easy for people to remember. However, I will tell you a funny story. So we have a donor who is just this lovely human being. But every time I talk to her, and she goes, "How is everybody there at Friends?" And I'm like, "You mean at S.M.I.L.E.S?" She goes, "Oh, I can never remember. Friends, S.M.I.L.E.S. You're all friends. You all smile. It's the same thing."
It's almost like they came up with the name first and then gave the acronym to it, right? Because
it
it is very fitting.
I agree.
And it works greatly.
Right. I digress from the first question, or the original question. I can't remember.
It was just, what's the path to accreditation? But it's really just getting. I've seen it firsthand. It's a stringent process, but it's good that it's that way.
Absolutely,
because these are people's children in vulnerable positions, right? So it's important they know what's going on,
and not just people's children. So a lot of people think that we offer our services mostly to kids. Only a third of our clients are kids,
really,
and so about 60% of our clients are actually over 18 years old. Just this year, we became a dementia-friendly facility. So dementia is a disability that is just a horrible, horrible disease that really strips people of not just their memory, but dementia actually, kind of kills parts of your brain, and is not just remembering things. Your brain then forgets how to pump your heart, forgets how to breathe, all that kind of stuff. So it is a terminal illness. But we offer dementia programming. And so our oldest client is in his 80s.
Wow.
And he gets on that horse, and we work on sequencing things like, do this, and then this, and then this, or go to number 1, then go to number 2. We have numbers and letters on the board. And so we really work hard with some of that, the memory recognition things. So our clients are anywhere from age 4 all the way till they can't ride anymore.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know how technical you know about this, but is when you're working with a client with dementia, is it important to keep the brain exercising in that aspect where it's you're going through the motions, you're moving it? Does that help slow things down?
I really don't know if it. I'm not a medical professional. We have gone through training on becoming a dementia-friendly facility. So what we do is the body really has a lot of muscle memory, and so the body does remember that you're riding a horse and there's movement and you're doing this sort of thing. So we're really working on some core strength things because some clients don't always, keep that exercise up. One of our clients with dementia, living with dementia, when he would ride, and he rode as a young child, and so he'd get on, his body remembered.
He just knew what to do.
But when he was getting off of the horse, he really struggled to walk again. So our instructor was like, "Okay, let's work on, take this leg, let's move it forward. Take this leg, let's move it forward." And so he just would kind of freeze when he got off the horse. And so it just was really, I think, really good for him to be able to just keep that motion going. A horse is one of the only animals that has the same gait as a human, and so when we're walking and when a horse walks, it's very similar.
Same motion,
right? And so when you're riding a horse, it really strengthens your core muscles. So if you're not walking and exercising regularly, riding on a horse is actually good exercise. People think you're just kind of sitting there, but it's workout.
Oh yeah,
It
I can
really
attest
is.
that. I'm not a horse person, right? But I just went horseback riding this past week, and my hips are sore, my
Mm-hmm.
abs are a little sore, because we were moving
Mm-hmm.
around. It was on rough terrain, and I
Yeah.
got off, and I'm like, holy cow! And
Yeah.
it was funny because it clicked it for me. I'm like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
people that don't have a lot of physical,
Yep.
mobility in their normal day to day life, when they hop on that horse, you could see how
Yep.
it can help loosen things up,
Absolutely.
keep everybody
Mm-hmm.
fresh,
Right. Right.
So
And it is relaxing too. One of our clients she's been riding for over 20 years, but with her disability, her muscles become very tight and very stiff. And so every Thursday morning, she gets on that horse and she's real tight. And by the end, her muscles are relaxed, her legs drop. Like we don't even put her feet in the stirrups because her legs are tight and forward, and her legs drop. And it's so good for the body
yeah,
and for the mind and
yeah,
the soul.
everything.
Yep.
And the volunteer and everybody around them.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things I love with volunteers. I hear so many times that, yes, I volunteer because I love the clients, I love the horses, but it does something for me too.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I was a volunteer, and I still do volunteer, even though I'm the director. I clock out and I volunteer. It's good for me. Time with that horse, time with a client. It just makes me feel good. One of our clients called in. It was a few months ago, and her dog had passed, and she said, I can't come in today because I'm just too upset. And we said, come in. Don't work with the clients. Just come in, groom a horse, hang out with a horse, and that's healing right there.
Absolutely.
So horses are good.
I experience that when I come in on Wednesdays. It's a good. We're so caught up in the digital age now. You're by your phone or running a business, whatever you're doing, and your mind is so caught up in those things. But when I get there, you're focused on the client and you're focused on the horse, and that's it. So it's a little bit almost meditative.
Yeah, it is.
You're just.
And do you know that horses can really read your energy too?
I have discovered that because like I said, I have no experience. I've learned a lot.
Yep. I mean, if you're nervous, the horse is going to be nervous. If you're sad, the horse is going to exhibit that sadness. If you're happy, the horse is going to be happy. So,
Yeah, they're basically a big mirror.
It's pretty
2,000-pound walking mirror.
Absolutely. So I love it.
I've always been curious, what do you think your biggest role is in S.M.I.L.E.S? Like, what's, as a director, what's your goal with S.M.I.L.E.S and what's your biggest responsibility?
Wow, that is a loaded question. Not bad loaded, but when I started, there's been some pretty significant transition with the staff and stuff. When I started, some staff had left and move on for different opportunities. So I thought, my role is really going to be kind of leading the staff and kind of directing some of their work, doing some training with them, and really a very administrative job. I started and I soon realized, I knew the staff were talented and I loved the staff. I knew almost all of them well. They don't need that direction. They are highly self-motivated. They are talented staff. And so, while there are some things that we wanted to change as a collective staff within the organization, my job is administrative, but I really wanted to be out in the barn. I wanted to meet the volunteers. I wanted to get to know the horses, get to know everything. And so, I would do property walks and, I wanted to learn about fencing. I wanted to learn about baling hay. I baled hay as a kid, but I hadn't done it in a long time, so because we're a sustainable farm, we bale our own hay and that sort of thing. I wanted to learn how to feed the horses. I wanted to learn everything. I always felt that my job as a supervisor, I should know what everybody does, and not to control what they do, but to learn what they do so that I can be a better leader. But with all of that, then too, I soon realized that, we're a nonprofit and we want to keep the costs for our clients as low as possible. We are a center that works very hard to keep the costs low. So for an 8-week session, we only charge $480. And there's another center, which is a little bit more than an hour away from us. For 6 weeks, they charge over $1,000. There's another center a couple hours away. They charge $174 for every 45-minute session. Wow. And I thought, wow, we're really reasonable. So I started looking at all the centers in Wisconsin, all the centers in Illinois, in the Midwest. We are really one of the most affordable centers, and I think we're very impactful because of that. So I then took on, okay, in order for us to keep this cost low, we got to fundraise. We have a staff member who's in charge of marketing and business development, marketing and development, which is grant writing and things like that. And she works so hard at our fundraisers. I mean, we have blown our goals out of the water the past 2 years with all of her efforts. And so then I thought, okay, my efforts really need to look at donors. You know, where are we going to get people to bring in funds for our organization? When I started, there were a lot of things that needed to be done facility-wise that hadn't been done. Because as a nonprofit, it's really hard to prioritize some of the things that, it can wait.
Yeah, well, because you're focused on keeping the customers or the clients affordable, but then the facilities takes a toll, right?
Absolutely. And when you work with horses, sometimes horses are rough on things, like sometimes fencing and such. And so last year, our commitment was to do $250,000 worth of building projects or facility projects. And we raised all the money and we did all that. And so it's kind of exciting to be able to see that we have quality facilities and we're still low in cost for our clients. So we've had some really amazing donors this past year that have really stepped forward to help us with that. I'm excited for the next phase.
Yeah.
So we are kicking off a capital campaign, a $1.5 million capital campaign. Our program has grown tremendously in the past year and a half. And in order for us to continue to grow, we need to enhance our facilities. That's what I'll say. So we have quite a few clients on a waiting list. And so we're hoping to double the size of our barn. And we're going to be adding grooming bays and horse stalls. And then we're going to be covering our outdoor arena so that our outdoor arena can be more utilized. We have an indoor arena and an outdoor arena. Our indoor arena is used most because we are very blessed that we have an indoor arena that is both heated in the winter and air conditioned in the summer. So we really do offer programming year round, where a lot of centers don't offer programming year round. And so it's kind of exciting to have this capital campaign kick off and see where it goes.
With that, do you get an increase in the herd size? Like, how many horses do you guys have?
Yeah, we have 22 horses right now.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to increase our herd size because we still have the arena, and so we can only offer so much programming with the number of staff that we have, with the size of arena that we have. We're going to be increasing a program we have called Hearts. And so we have two programs. One, well, we have a number of programs, but we have therapeutic riding, where a client actually mounts on the horse and rides a horse for 45 minutes. We have a program called Hearts, which is an unmounted program that for a half an hour, the client will groom the horse and tack the horse, so get them ready for riding. So putting on the saddle and putting on the halter and leading the horse for a half an hour. We also have a program called Books in the Barn, where our clients and community members can come in for an experience where they read to a horse. Literacy is something that is really important to us. And so that is a free program where we offer clients and community members to come in and read to the horse.
That was, I've seen a video of it and also some photos. It's super heartwarming.
It is really
just to see people out there building a connection with the horse and having some time where they can be themselves. You know?
Yeah. And we didn't think, we did a little research on this, and some programs are very, very detailed and working at this, and this. Ours is really just an immersion experience where they come in and they have a non-judgmental time to read with a horse. Because, you know, a lot of people struggle reading aloud and they really struggle, like, okay, mom or dad or a family member is here critiquing, oh, you said that word wrong.
Yeah.
Or a teacher or a peer, you know, where this is just the client and the horse. Who cares?
Horse isn't going to talk back to you,
Absolutely.
right?
And we weren't sure. So we're in the barn, and we have what's called a stall guard that goes in front of the horse's stall, so the horse can lean their head over, right? And so we thought, how is this going to work? You know, the horses aren't going to be engaged. They're going to be at the back.
Yeah,
of
they
the
might be
stall,
turned around, right?
So we put hay at the front of the stall to kind of encourage them. horses didn't eat the hay at all. As soon as the clients sat down, the horses put their head over, and like we literally have pictures where the horse rests their head in the book, or they rest their head on the client's head, or their nose on the client's head. It's so warming. It's so great, and the clients just love it. And some clients don't read. Some clients will color. You know, some clients have done homework. Some clients are on their phone reading a book on their phone. But we have a library. We ask people to donate to our library. We have a pretty extensive library that our clients can come in, choose a book, and then they get to take that book home with them.
Okay.
So that's really kind of cool. So our barn edition is going to have 8 grooming bays that are going to be used for the Hearts program, so that they can groom the horse in the bay. It's actually going to be heated as well, because during the winter, our Hearts program is in the barn and it's cold in the barn. And then the grooming bays are also going to be used for the books in the barn program. So it's going to be warmer. It's going to be a very comfortable environment. The barn is going to look amazing. We are adding horse stalls, but we're adding double stalls. We are a program that has draft horses. So we have 5 horses that are very large, very, very large, very tall, very big. But they're gentle giants. They're really amazing. But we have just normal stalls. They fit just fine. But we're doing double stalls so that they have a little bit more room. Which I think is going to be really, really nice. So we're going to have 5 double stalls because we have 5 draft horses. The draft horses are important to our program because we are a program that does allow clients to be over 200 pounds. An average horse, usually if you're 200 or less, you know, the average horses can handle that. Some horses can handle a little bit more and stuff. But the draft horses can definitely handle a little bit more. And so we're very mindful of our clients and what they can do. You know, some of our clients are not stable and able to stay on a horse by themselves. So the draft horses wouldn't be good for that client, because we have 2 different types of volunteers. We have what are called sidewalkers, where they walk on the side of the horses and kind of help stabilize the client up on the horse. And can you imagine if you're a sidewalker and you have a draft horse and you're going to be holding somebody?
You have to get a pole or something because they're so tall.
Right. Our clients do wear a belt with handles on, so that the volunteers can help. But then we also have a lead walker, and so somebody who's leading the horse, and then we have the sidewalkers if a client needs that. So. Boy, that was a long-winded answer, wasn't it?
Well, it's a great answer. I mean, you're telling us about what we can expect with the expansion, and you know, with the outdoor arena being covered, does that allow just for more comfort for the clients too, right? Some shade, because I know it's right out in the beaming heat.
Yeah, because honestly, we the horses like being outside. We like being outside. We love the sun. But you know, some of those 90-degree days in the summer, the heat is just too much. So we'll stay inside. But this gives more flexibility for us. The outdoor arena is larger. We also have a sensory area, which we call Buckaroo Bend, and so they can do different obstacle courses and that sort of thing through Buckaroo Bend. And different types of things, like they can go up a little bit of a bridge, they can walk through a sandbox, that kind of stuff. So having that outdoor space is gonna be nice. So covered will prevent it from the sun. We're also gonna have fans in there. We're gonna have a sound system in there to play music. All of our instructors wear a headset so that everybody can hear properly the instructions that are going on. So we'll have a really nice sound system out there too. And we're hoping also to use it for celebrations,
So we can have an event out there.
This year, is our 40 years. So on July 19th, we have a 40-year celebration. We're hoping to have about 400 people come out to our property and just celebrate everything Smiles. It's going to be a free event. So anybody wants to come.
July 19th.
July 19th.
Is there a significance to that date? Was that the founding date, or is it just a date that worked good?
That we really looked in the community to see that there wasn't other events happening on the day of our event.
That's hard because there's a lot when you look at the event calendar for this area in the summertime. That's when everything happens.
Yeah. We were gonna do July 26th, and we're gung ho about that. We're gonna publish it, but we're having food trucks at our event, and on July 26th is a food truck. Show or something, so none of the food trucks would have been available. We're like, okay, So we're trying to figure out the food truck thing. I'm not sure if it's going to be cost effective for food trucks to come to our program or not, but we would love that to happen. So
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
So July 19th.
Yeah, and it's going to be kind of fun. We're going to try to do like booths for the decade. Like this is what happened in the 80s, and here's what happened in the 90s and stuff. So it's going to be cool.
Who started S.M.I.L.E.S?
Good friend. Her name is Sherry Monty. She is this. I have no idea how she had the vision to start this, because this has grown to such an incredible program with her vision. So in 1985, she had a farm just outside of Delavan. She borrowed 4 horses and 4 saddles and started this grassroots program. And it has truly taken off. We still have a couple of riders that started at Sherry's property and are still riding with us today.
Wow.
We have a lot of clients that have longevity there. I mean, we have quite a few clients, more than 20 years, that have been riding and just continually come every week and get great benefits from it.
That's got to be cool for them to see the growth of the program and the facilities. And
so Sherry retired, 10 years ago, maybe. I think it was about 10 years ago. I was on the board of directors at the time of her retirement, and she was really struggling with the decision. She makes jokes that this is her first baby, and so, she kind of birthed this program, so to speak, and so to choose to retire from it is really difficult, right? So she did retire, moved to Florida. She came up last summer to visit with us and stuff. She has a new grandbaby, so she came back to visit with a grandbaby and her family. But she has stopped in, and she was really proud of everything, because the program in 10 years has done a lot of new things.
Oh, yeah.
And so she was pretty excited to see what has happened and continue to grow. We're inviting her for the 40th, so I hope she comes back.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would love to meet her.
Yeah, she's a really cool
the
lady.
woman who started it all.
Yep. She's relatively shy, just kind of introverted, but just a mighty force. She just is really intelligent and fun, and just cares deeply for people and horses.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, has that capital campaign to make those improvements, has that started yet, or how do people get involved in that?
So the board, in our February meeting, the board did approve the capital campaign to kick off. We already have signed with a contractor. So Pino here in Delavan is going to be our builder. And we have contracted with a fencing company. Also, we have to redo some fencing and things like that. So we're pretty excited about it. We know where we're headed. We know what we need to do. But there's a few kinks that we have to work out with funding and that sort of thing. I want to make sure that anybody that is donating to our program, that they know that their money is safe. They know that their money is earmarked for our capital campaign. This is not going towards operating budget. This is definitely specifically towards our building projects and sustainability with our building projects. And so it is not a want for S.M.I.L.E.S at this point. It's a need, because we have a need in the community and we have to respond to that need. And with us adding on to the barn, we will be able to enhance the Hearts program, do some more training with our staff. And our staff doesn't really need a lot more training. It's an amazing program. But as you know, Ellie is our Hearts coordinator. And so she's doing a phenomenal job. And I want us to continue to do a phenomenal job. So we have to look at, if we grow that program, what it's going to be. That's the training that I mean.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do if we grow that program, and how are we going to sustain that? When I started, I think we had under 20 clients in Hearts. And as of Friday, we're at 50 clients for our upcoming spring session.
A year, basically, right?
Yeah, so we've more than doubled. So the counties actually come on board. And so if there are clients in the county, the county has said, wow, there are some true therapeutic benefits to this Hearts program. And so there are some county agencies that are funding clients that are coming in with it, or with doing the Hearts program. So that's really exciting for us.
That's amazing.
So there is true validity there.
Yeah.
With the Hearts program, I give the example of my daughter. So my daughter's not in the program any longer. She's turning 25 this year, and she got this thing in her brain. Oh, I'm too old to ride a horse. She's not, but so she took a break. But my daughter is neurodivergent, and she has a couple of friends, but not great friends, right? Or she has good friends. I don't want to say that. But when she came to S.M.I.L.E.S, that horse became her best friend. Like every week when she saw her horse, she just lit up. And so that Hearts program, grooming the horse, touching the horse, it's such a feel good thing to do. And the horse just cares about the client cares about the horse. So it's grooming, but it's also sequencing, so maybe someone struggles with, doing this, then this, then this. Well, we teach in the heart sequencing. You first use this brush, then you use this brush, and make sure to go with the flow of the hair. That's not the right word.
Grain, maybe?
The grain of it. Yeah. Gosh, my goodness.
I don't even know if that's the right word.
No, that's probably the. Okay. Anyways, it'll come to me like tomorrow morning or something. Just actually brushing the horse and picking the hooves and, making sure that the saddle, you put this pad on first, then you put the saddle on. And so sequencing is a really big part of it as well. So there's so many benefits to everything that we do. Everything we do has a purpose. It's not just for fun.
Yeah.
It's really, we have goals for our clients. The families, the case managers, the clients, and the staff are all involved in that goal development. So every client has goals, and they can change every session that they come as well if they want to work on some different things. So
that's amazing. You're not just going there to just ride,
right?
With a purpose. You have a purpose to go after and achieve.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's awesome. So, besides the capital campaign, how can people help S.M.I.L.E.S?
Oh, good. By the way, so yes, the capital campaign has kicked off, but we're working on a contract if anybody does give. Smaller dollars can certainly be given to S.M.I.L.E.S at this point. Major donors, we're seeking major donors. We're going to be offering naming rights for certain things, like you can purchase a grooming bay for naming rights. That'll be $25,000. We're doing a wash bay, that's $35,000. You can purchase the naming rights for a stall or a tack room, different things like that. So that's how you can give to the capital campaign, or just in general too. But in order for giving to S.M.I.L.E.S, you can come on in. What I love for donors is to actually come in and get a tour. Do they have to? No. Quite a few people just send a check in the mail. Quite a few people go online and make donations that way. But truly, when they see our program, and if they're donating to our program, I want them to come through and see the benefits that they're doing. Meet a couple of horses, meet a couple of the clients, meet the staff. That's what's special, right? And it really makes you feel good about donating to a program. I talked to a donor, and the donor said they specifically give to S.M.I.L.E.S because we demonstrate to them where their money goes.
It's not just going off to a fund somewhere, right?
We actually, a lot of donors, we don't put directly into our operating budget. A lot of our donors give specifically to things. There's one donor that gives specifically to salaries. One donor wants to give to our horses. One donor has wanted to buy hay for us. And so we bale our own hay. So maybe it's at one point we needed a new tractor. She actually purchased a new tractor for us. So donors that way. But it's really kind of nice for them to see what we do.
Yeah. There's a million nonprofits out there that not only you don't know where the money goes, but also sometimes it's not stewarded in the best way.
Yes,
and, S.M.I.L.E.S is one of those things where you go there, you certainly know that it is.
Yeah. And any donor, I say, if you need me to justify and show you where that money goes, I will do that in a heartbeat. So that's really important to me, to know that we are good stewards of the money that is given. I'm actually taking a class right now on fundraising. I come from a background of not having to ask for money.
Yeah.
It's really tough to ask for money, right? But I want, I call it relational currency. I really want to develop relationships before I ask for any money. And so I want them to know who I am. I want them to know who S.M.I.L.E.S is, and that I am a good steward. We are a good steward of our money before we do any asking of money. And I think that has gone a long way. Last year, we actually more than doubled the number, our donations that came in, which is really exciting. We do have some big donors, but the ones that I really are not more excited about. The ones I'm really excited about is we have a lot of people that give every month. You know, there is one person that gives $50, $175 every month, and you know, I write a handwritten thank you every month because it's really important that $75 every month, that adds up after a year,
Oh, yeah.
right? And if you have 100 people that give $50 every month, that adds up to a pretty big dollar amount.
Mhm.
And so some people think, well, I'm not really making a difference if I do that. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you certainly
Yeah,
are.
we have a couple people that only give $10 a month. That's $10,
Yeah.
and you know that's $120 every month. And if we have 10 people giving that, that's $1,200.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
so we'll take any amount.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know one kiddo came in and gave $5, and I'm like, that is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so I love it when people do that.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
How is that? That when did you start that journey of learning how to fundraise? And do you go to a class for that? Is that a S.M.I.L.E.S thing that you're learning? Or?
Yeah, no. So when I got the job, I had been writing a book on being a leader in an organization. And so when I got the job, I was offered the job, I think, on a Friday, and I started on Monday.
Oh, really?
And so I'm like that weekend, I'm like, I gotta learn, like, I know I'm gonna have to ask for money. I gotta learn some things. And so I started searching, and I talked to my supervisor at the time as I was leaving the position. And she goes, you know what, Troy, you're really good at building relationships. And she goes, look up like relationship building and money and all that kind of stuff. And I stumbled across what's called relational currency. So I started doing research, and now it's a chapter in my book actually that I'm writing. But it just is really talking about developing those relationships. And so that's really kind of got interested in it. I've never had to ask for money in any position I've had before.
Mhm.
I've asked for money like when my kids are selling candy bars for band trips
Yeah.
and stuff, you know. But that's a little bit different. This is really so. Last year, so our operating budget last year was $577,000. We brought in $908,000 in revenue last year. That's the first year we've ever had revenue at that point. But the reason that we brought in that much is because we needed that $250,000 for our facility enhancements. And so we went out and asked for it, and we got it. And so are we going to have another year like that? I hope so.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we want to be really mindful of is that our capital campaign is not sabotaging our annual giving. You know, I could go to a donor and say, a donor that gives us $30,000 every year, and say, hey, can you give to our capital campaign? And then that donor says, great, here's $30,000. Well, what happened to the donation that they give every single year?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to be really mindful of, okay, you've given $30,000 every year. Are you able to offer something in addition specifically for the capital campaign? And so that's what I'm trying to navigate right now and building that. So it's exciting, but it's mindful work. Like, it's tiring, like because you have to really think through. Because okay, so this class that I'm taking is through Path International. I received a grant to take it. It's a $2,500 class, but I received a grant to be able to take this class, and it's all at high level fundraising. They only accepted 11 students into this class. I think it's 11. And we have a faculty member and a mentor assigned to us, and we're taking for 3 months. We take classes on how to be effective fundraisers and how to have those high-end dialogues with donors. And then for 3 months, we are mentored, and we are expected to meet a goal. And so I've used Capital Campaign as my goal. So class just started last week. So we had our first class. It was really great. So for 3 months now, I'm in these classes, and then for 3 months, I will have to meet a goal. And it is benchmarked of, this is the goal, and how are you meeting that? And so my mentor, who is a seasoned fundraiser, she actually has been a director of our center, and she's been known to raise more than $10 million. So hopefully we can raise that 1.5 or
That's
more.
awesome. And that what's the timeline for the capital campaign? Is that
there isn't a timeline because we just didn't know how long it's going to take to raise that money.
Mhm.
We really want this to be, we want the community to recognize how important this is,
Mhm.
and we want the community's investment. I don't know. We're really hoping we're going to be building in phases. So we'll build the barn first. So as soon as we have enough money for the barn, which is about $500,000, we'll build the barn first.
Okay.
And then once we raise the money for the outdoor arena, which is also about $500,000, then we'll do that. And then we have facility enhancements, or not enhancements, repairs to our machine shed that has to be done. That's $50,000. So then we'll use that money. We have some fencing repairs. Then we'll do, which is about
The horses
$50,000. Yeah.
breaking stuff again.
So yep. But it's just our fencing too is aging. We haven't we redo, or we do a new post when a post rots or whatever. It's nice to just, some
Get
of
it
our
done,
fencing
right?
is over 20 years old, and we got to really make sure that it's safe for our horses and all that kind of stuff. So the capital campaign is really going to be more in phases. So I'm hoping that it's not going to be too long. Our goal, so in 2027, in March of 2027, Path International selected S.M.I.L.E.S as the conference site. And so we're going to be having center leaders from all over the Midwest coming to S.M.I.L.E.S to see our facility and to learn from us. And so we're hoping that everything is done by then.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that really would be. The construction company, Pino, said, in building a barn, if we raise the money for a barn, they think they can do a barn in less than 2 months.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable.
I've seen some of their
to
work
me.
around here. It's amazing.
It
They
really
did the
is.
development in Delavan over there, and it's like,
Yeah.
like they're throwing up buildings like they're Legos.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
They have been so amazing to work with. Our contract is written that here's our contract, and that we don't have to start the project until we raise adequate funds. But once we raise those adequate funds, we're gonna gung ho and go forward and finish that program, or finish the building. And they actually they have a marketing director, and they have said they wanted to help us in some of the fundraising. And so their marketing director is going to work with our marketing person to develop a marketing plan on how to raise money through social media. And so that's amazing that they did that for us.
Yeah.
And so
That's the power of a community like we have, because we're a small community, but there's a lot of great people in it, and it's we can come together in those ways.
I agree. And one of the things I wanted to say too is, so S.M.I.L.E.S, for years, we have said, or not said, but we take from the community, right? And not greedy, but people give to us to help keep us running, right? And so last year we started thinking, okay, we should start giving back too. And so we have started some give back campaigns also. So we did a Fill the Trailer event. And so for in November, we went to Piggly Wiggly in Delavan, and we brought 2 horses and a trailer, and anybody who donated food to the Walworth County Food and Diaper Bank got their picture taken with a horse. And they told us it was one of the most successful programs that was all year.
Really?
We had over $750 pounds of food and donated, and several $100s that people had given. And it was really cool to see people, you walk into Delavan Piggly Wiggly, and there's 2 horses standing out there like, what is happening, right? They did, Piggly Wiggly did 60 bags of like $10, like you can grab a bag for $10 and give it. And they went through all 60 bags in the first hour and a half. And they said most...
It's a bag a minute.
Yeah. They said most food drives... after 4 hours, they still have some bags left, and they didn't for us.
That's amazing.
And so it was
What
cool.
do you remember the horses that were out there?
So we had Little Gray, which is one of our newest horses. She is a beautiful quarter horse. And then we had Nugget, which is our little mini. So we do have a program
the cuteness factor was there, right?
Definite cuteness factor. And so Nugget, we have a program called Nugget in the Neighborhood. And so we actually take Nugget into community functions. We wrote a grant this year, and so we can take him to 10 events because it costs. So you have to pay liability insurance.
Yeah.
Every horse we take off property, it costs us $175 to get insurance for
It's
it.
a specific policy for that. Oh, wow.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
With our insurance company, there's liability with taking a horse off property.
Liability
and
with
stuff.
everything, right?
I know, right? But we still want to do it. So we're going to the Delavan Library in March. We went to the Darien Library. We took a horse to Royal Basket in Darien. In one of the celebrations that they had for their owner's 70th birthday. It's a lot of fun stuff like that. But Books in the Barn is also a community program. It's free to come to, but it's really, we want to just give back to the community and showing that S.M.I.L.E.S just doesn't take from the community. We give back to the community.
Yeah, and you certainly do.
We do. Yep.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
And then I think a couple other things. You guys have a tax sale coming up soon?
We do.
Right.
If you are looking for tack, we are the place to come. So all year long, people give donations to S.M.I.L.E.S a lot. And so anytime someone gives a donation to us, our staff looks to that to see if it's something that we can use in our program. If it is not something that we have an immediate need for, we have an annual tax sale. And we sell all of that for very, very, very reasonable costs. It's really kind of nice because then it's also a fundraiser for us. So people know that if they're giving tack, yes, they're helping our program if we need the tack, but they're helping our program financially also because we can sell it. I mean, I can't even think of anything that we don't have. We have blankets and saddles and bits and halters and saddle pads and I mean Western saddles and English saddles, and we have 2 Australian saddles.
I don't even know. What is an Australian saddle?
I don't even know.
It's made out of kangaroo hide or something?
Maybe, I don't know. It's a certain type of saddle. But it's just amazing to me to see the donations that are brought in. Some very, very generous people. So
yeah, I went there last year and it was like a sea of horse equipment that I don't even, like I said, I'm not a horse person. I don't know what any of this stuff does, but it looked very nice.
Yeah. And it's organized very, very well. And we have staff there to like help you. And there are people, like literally people line up at the door sometimes an hour ahead of time, and we don't let them in until it starts.
It's like a Black Friday sale.
Absolutely.
Holding them back.
It's a $2 admission, but it's also a craft fair this year too. So we have, I think, 6 or 8 vendors that are going to be coming too. So we have one vendor who happens to be my daughter. So she makes jewelry and like earrings and necklaces, bracelets, keychains, all that kind of stuff. We have someone that crochets, which is my ex-wife. We have someone who bakes amazing products, which is Kevin's girlfriend.
Indy's Acres.
Yes, Indy's Acres. If you need some good sourdough bread, we made grilled cheese sandwiches out of her garlic, cheddar, basil. Last night it was so good. Anyways, we have one vendor that will engrave things. We have a number of vendors, so it's really pretty cool. So it's not just a tax sale. You can come and
hang out and see people and
absolutely,
yeah. And that is when?
That is the 15th of March. Let me look at my calendar here. So that's
coming up then.
Yes, it is. I was on vacation last week, and all my days are really blending together, and so I'm really struggling to remember everything. So yes, March 15th is our our tech. I'm looking at February here. Man, I am so sorry. Why do I not know this? So.
Getting back in the hang of things after a trip, right?
I really am. So yeah, the 15th is our tax sale. So yeah.
Okay. So that's what, like 2 weeks away, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So next week, we're on a break right now. So run, walk, trot, or wheel. We put our horses out in pasture, and so people run, and the horses a lot of times run with them. And so it's so much fun. And it's also a costume contest for people, and they go through, and we have trick-or-treating on the trail. And then we do a costume contest for the horses. This past year, were you at the Miles for Smiles?
I was not able to go, but I saw a video. We're there in the barn lined up, right?
It was so much fun. So it was an election year. So we had 3 horses do a presidential debate. So we have a horse named Lincoln. So he was Nabraham Lincoln. We have a horse named Teddy, and he was Teddy Roosevelt. And then we have a horse named Holly. So we called her Hillary Clinton. And we dressed them all up as presidents or presidential candidates. And we actually had a debate. So we had people in our office with microphones, and we held a microphone up to the horse, and like they debated back and forth. So it was things like, mayor rights in the barn and unlimited treats in the barn was one of the campaigns. And it was so much fun. But then we also have the student horse show every year. And so our clients actually get to show some of their talents, and we do a horse show on property. And that's always so much fun. So we're thinking about some other things too. Maybe Christmas in the barn.
That'd be fun.
Maybe dressing up some horses as elves or something and having Santa, or I don't know, but there's a lot of things that we're looking at.
That's awesome. And do you guys have a calendar online that people can find?
We do. Yep. If you go to visitsmiles.org and click on events, and it'll show all the events that we have throughout the year.
Okay.
Including July 19th for our 40th anniversary.
Don't miss it.
Right.
You got anything else you would like to share about Smiles or anything you got going on?
Gosh, I've talked a lot, but I really appreciate you reaching out to me to do this.
Yeah.
Smiles is kind of a hidden treasure. A lot of people in the community know us, but a lot of people still don't know us. I know one of our volunteers kept driving by, and she's like, I don't know what that is. And finally she ended up looking it up. She started volunteering, and now she actually works for us.
Wow.
And so, if you're driving by Smiles, stop in. We're open. We're open for programming often 8 to 8, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., but our office is open 8 to 4. People can stop in anytime. We're more than happy to give tours. We're more than happy just to visit with you and show you our program. So please, if you are curious, if you're driving by, stop in. The main entrance is labeled. It's very easy to find us, and we'd love to have you visit.
Yeah, and I recommend volunteering, firsthand experience, very heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing thing to be a part of.
To be a volunteer, you do have to be 15.
Okay.
Some people have come in, that they're in 8th or 9th grade and they want to volunteer, but you do have to be 15.
Okay.
And we do train you, so you do not have to be a horse person.
That is true.
Because you weren't a horse person.
I was not. No.
I wasn't a horse person either. But we do have several open houses that they can come to kind of learn about us, but then they actually go through training. So it's not just, we throw you in. So you'll do a several-hour training on learning how to do this, or this. And if you don't want to work with horses, we have other things to do too. If you want to scoop poop, or if you want to fold letters or do a mailing, there's lots of things you can volunteer at a nonprofit. But we do train you. And then after your training, we assign you a mentor, so a seasoned volunteer to continue to walk you through so that you don't have any questions.
Yeah.
And there's always staff and other volunteers around that are willing to mentor you. And
that would be the one thing I said. I went in almost a little nervous because I really don't know much about horses, never had to almost guide a client or anybody through a situation like that. And by the time I went through the training and done with the mentorship, it was like, okay, this is easy.
Yeah.
Right. We come in here, we do this, and we're in class, and instructors make it fun. So I highly recommend it to anybody out there.
I'm glad you're a volunteer. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No, amazing job from everybody at your organization. You guys are great people, great organization.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kevin.
Bye. All right, folks, that's all the time we had for this episode. We're going to end it here and hopefully catch you on the next one.